Greetings, and welcome to Kensium Solutions presentation on Doccept, our document management system. In this video, we're going to showcase a general overview of Doccept and demonstrate some of the very powerful and robust functionalities of the system. We'll go ahead and log into it here, which I've already done. It's just a browser-based system, so you can access it from your smartphone, tablet, your workstation, or your laptop. This is the home page that you're going to see after you log into it. What you're seeing here is a pretty clean layout. There's not a lot of extra buttons and tabs all over the place to kind of confuse the situation. It's just a really solid, clean place to start your work at. A couple different things that you're going to notice on this particular page. Over on the right-hand side here, you're going to see some different graphic representations of your system's environment. My usage, again, this can be configured per user, so you know how much space this particular user is using. The entire repository usage, that's how much space you have in your entire repository. Graphic representation of searchable and non-searchable content. The non-searchable content is going to be things like executable files. And my file types. This just kind of showcases the different types of files and the amount of memory that they're currently using. Over on the left-hand side, you're going to see 5 quick action tabs. We'll go ahead and start off here with My Recent Activities. Now, by clicking on those, it'll open up and showcase you the last 10 items that this particular user was working on. This is a real nice way to start up and pick off from the previous day's work so you can get back to work relatively quickly and easily. Again, showcases the last 10 items. If you want to scroll back a little bit further, you can come down here and just click the See More tab and it'll take you back a little bit further. New uploads. Again, gives you the top 10 items or 10 most recent items that were loaded into the system. This is just to let you know what's been being put into the system. And again, each user or groups of users can be configured as to what they can import, what they can't output and edit and that sort of thing. Again, if you want to go back a little bit further, you just scroll down and click on the See More tab and it'll take you back a bit further. Recently modified. This will show you the most recently modified files. Now you can set this up where, and again, depending on the user preference, you can see what files have been modified and loaded back into the system, so you kind of keep a good portion of control that way. My emails. This can be configured with just about any email system out there, whether it's Outlook, Yahoo, Gmail. It's a good place to just keep tabs on your emails, and you can click on the subject matter, and it'll take you to them. So you're not having to switch between multiple windows when you're working within the system. My open tasks. This will become a little bit more apparent a little bit later on in the video when we start getting into task approval and workflow systems and that sort of thing. But what this does is that if you have something that's on a critical path that needs your attention, it'll show up here and you can access the document or go about your task approval. And again, those are things that we'll showcase a little bit later. So that's the home page right there. Now we'll go ahead and go up top here and click on the Explorer tab. Now this is going to be where the majority of the organization of your files and folders happens. You'll see here that it has a typical file tree hierarchy on the left, and I'll go ahead and adjust these windows. And what you're seeing is whatever file is highlighted here on the left hand side, the corresponding contents is going to be displayed here on the right hand side. So we'll go just here to the demo one, and there's a file I like to use here. Kind of makes it really easy to see these. We'll go down to the projects, and this Aber Norway one is the one I want. Now you'll see that is highlighted, and again over on the right hand side here you'll see it has 8 folders associated with it, as well as 6 documents. Now we'll go ahead and click on these documents, and you can see those are ones that are again associated with this particular highlighted file. This is a real neat and clean layout. It'll show you status, and we'll kind of get into that here a little bit. The file type icon, it's a typical Windows-based icon. It kind of just helps you determine what type of file it is. In these cases, these top 3 are Excel files. Then we have a text file and a Word file here. the name of the particular file or folder, the author of it, what version of that, and that'll play an important part here as well. Any notes that you want to add onto it, the most recent update date and timestamp on it, the particular file size, and a couple drop-down menus. One says Action and View. Now, for this particular purposes, we'll go ahead and use the invoice 1234 document. Go ahead and look over here at the Action drop-down menu, and by clicking on that, it brings up a number of different options for you. Downloading and editing the file, by clicking on that, that'll bring the file into its native environment. So if it's a Word file, it'll open it up in Word. If it's an Excel file, it'll open it up in Excel. Update new version, that comes into play when you're editing and updating. And again, these can be configured so you can allow or not allow, depending on their privilege level, different user configurations for that. Lock, again, if you have the authority for it and you're configured for this, by clicking on the lock button, that will lock that file from any changes and not allow anybody to do anything with it until you come in and unlock it. Delete, again, there might be a case where you don't want everybody to have the allowances to delete files out of here. So in some cases, depending on your user settings, you can delete it. Now, it doesn't go away permanently. The only person who can actually eliminate a file from the system it would be the administrator, because there's a purge function that's built into Doccept to prevent just that. It prevents files from being unknowingly deleted completely from the system. Rename, move, copy, export to zip, creating links, metadata groups, add subscription. In this case, you can click on that, and we'll go ahead and do that, and I'll show you what happens here. You'll notice that this icon over here in the status bar showed up. This tells you that this particular document has been subscribed to by this user. What that means is that anytime this document is downloaded, edited, or whatever, an alert will show up for you on your home page there. Go back to Action, and I'm going to remove that subscription. You'll see that the icon disappears there. And also now you have manage keywords, manage categories. Those are two helpful search functions. And again, when we get into the searches, we'll showcase that a little bit more. Document expiration. This is very handy when you have documents that you need alerts for particular actions for. Now, maybe it's that you have an alert where maybe you have an RFP waiting to be submitted one day, so you give yourself an alert a couple of days prior, and it'll show up, and you can say, hey, okay, I need to take care of that. Also, you can use that to help you when it comes time to actually delete files out of the system. Now, that's an important part because and each business is going to be different as to their requirements, but generally, in the life cycle of a document, there comes a point when the document needs to be deleted. Because it's no longer necessary, it's outdated, and there's just no reason to have it any longer. So that's a part of that you can use as well. Now we'll go over to View and look at the options there. Now within this one, you'll see it: Properties, Notes, the history of the document, different security functions. You can preview it, a workflow log, and again we'll get into that when we start discussing workflows. An audit log, and you can view all the attributes of it as well. So that's a pretty powerful tool here. So that's how you navigate, and again, it's a pretty easy, simple layout. It's a typical file tree hierarchy, so it's nothing that new and complex. It's real easy for people to pick up on. Now you'll notice down here at the bottom there are some other icons. Right now we're in the Folders pane. Now we can go ahead and click on Categories, and I'll show you what this brings up. Now, we just put in some generic files in here with some just generic names. You can assign files these particular categories. So if you have one that you want compiled quickly, you can just assign a file to a certain category, click on it, and show up. And just to give you an example, I tagged these three, again, back in the Folders pane, where it said manage categories, I went ahead and signed that to that so that all three of these show up here as well. And again, you can configure that however you want. And the next pane we'll look at are templates. We always encourage businesses when they're starting to define their processes and work with document management systems and really take a look at refining these sort of things, that anytime a document is created, it needs to be created from a template. The reason being is that the templates are just that. They are a blank document. So you don't have people going back into the system, erasing information from a document and recreating it over that. That can lead to all kinds of problems. Incorrect information, incorrect dollar amounts, incorrect dates, incorrect authors, or even leaving confidential information on a particular file and without taking the time to actually read through it and making sure you erased everything that's on there, you accidentally send that out and now you have some information that's out there that you might not have wanted. So you can store all your different templates here and just start them off from there, and that's a great place to do it. And I'll show you an example here. Down to the sales one, you'll see that I have two sales templates that are stored here. Again, they're both Word files. You can see the name of them, the author. So then under the Action tab, you'll just go ahead and download them, create and put in whatever information you want, rename the file and bring it back into the system. So again, you're starting everything from a blank template, which is exactly how you want to do these things. The next tab below is an email function, and by looking at this, it has the capability to store emails. This is a real handy function of the system. It allows you to keep emails and manage them just to make sure that whatever email that was maybe assigned to a certain floater and those types of communications, that you keep intact so you can have a definite tracking of what happened with them. So what you're seeing here is the way they're organized, and I just chose this particular admin one here. You have the year, the month, and the date. Again, this is just a generic one that we created for demonstration purposes, but you can do this so you can keep track of any and all emails. There are ways that you can also configure it to track email trails, so you can store both sent and received ones, which is another compliance issue, and again, that's something that you can configure for your system, and it's usually done during the deployment phase. So we'll go ahead and close that one out. And we'll click on the trash can here. Now, since I am the administrator, I'm logged into the system as an administrator, I can purge whatever documents I want. That means that even though, say, somebody else had deleted a file in the system, it stays here until I come in and actually purge it out of the system. So that's kind of a stopgap that helps companies from unknowingly or unwittingly destroying files. We'll go back over here to the search function up top here. It's a different tab. This is a very powerful tool within Doccept. What you'll see is that you have different ways of finding files. Once you start using this, you'll find it's a real quick and easy way to get to the file that you were working with, or locate any file within the system. Now, sometimes you may, forget a file name, forgot who associated with, so there's several different options here for you. Now, file name, we'll go ahead and just look at this one here, and it allows wildcards, and I'll show you how that works. We'll just type in invoice, and we'll run a search on that. Now, what the system has done is it has returned every file that has invoice in its name, and you'll see there's a bunch of different numbers here. Now, suppose you knew it was an invoice, but you forgot the number. So here's another easy trick to this, and this involves wildcards. We'll say invoice 5. Now it returned, the search results returned the invoices that included that number 5. So you'll see it's like this one here, invoice 55123. Well, that's how you use the wildcards. And that's an important function of the search function there. We'll go ahead and reset that. Now, keywords. Now we'll go back to the Explorer pane so I can show you this again. Go back to the folders, and you'll see this the system is really quick and easy to navigate. Now we're looking back for our demonstration files. And you'll remember that when we were looking at the particular files, there was a spot for us to add words to a search function. So we'll look at this. We'll just use this particular cache report here. Now under Action, we'll go ahead and click on that. And again, download, edit, update, new version. Manage keywords. We'll go ahead and click on that. Now what this is going to do, this is going to allow us to attribute different keywords to this particular file. Now you'll see there are two already associated with it here. EOM, I just plugged that in as end of month, and yearly. So that means those two files are attributed to that. Now you can add as many keywords as you want. It's just a different way to help you compile files. Maybe you have certain documents that are required at the end of the year. Maybe you have certain documents that are required monthly. This is a good way to easily compile those, and you can bring them up under one search function. So just remember those two, the EOM and yearly, and I'll show you how that works. We'll go ahead and clear out of this. Go back to the search. Now I'll go ahead and I like to hit reset so make sure that all my contents are cleared out to help me here. So keywords, we're going to plug in EOM, end of month. Click search, and now it'll show every file that I attributed that particular keyword with will show up here. Again, it's a good way to compile your different files that you need to bring up. The other thing is that once you do this, you can also go down here and export to zip and do a number of functions to kind of collate and compile all the files that you need to do some type of action with. And we'll go ahead and reset that. We'll look at advanced searches. These are again just additional categories that help you narrow down your search parameters. Maybe you know what file folder it is, the file category, the type of file. All these things kind of help you out, starting with your base of all the files in your system, and then you kind of parse things down to navigate to the file you're looking for. You can also do saved searches. So say in this particular one we have a file name, and we'll just call it invoice, and a file keyword, that's say EOM, end of month. A date range will go from August 18th to the 25th, and you can save this particular search by clicking on Save Search. You can add it into there. We'll go ahead and run this, and it should have that one right there. So that's a good way to narrow things down, and allows you to save your different searches so you don't have to keep recreating them. So we'll go ahead and reset that and clear that one out. And I want to go back to the home page here. Okay, now remember at the very beginning we had talked about the My Open Tasks. Now these two things items have shown up here because they need your attention. So how we go about doing this, we'll go to the administration, and we're going to look at workflows. Now under workflows, we have a defined workflow that we have programmed into the system. You can have as many processes or workflows as you like. In this case, we just have this particular one for demonstration purposes. So we want to go ahead and take a look at that. So we're going to examine it. And this is going to tell me how many instances or how many different processes that follow this particular hierarchy do I have running. Now it's showing me that I have 3. And again, here's just a simple graphic representation of a particular workflow. These can all be configured on deployment of Doccept for your particular workflows, and it's a really robust way to increase your productivity because you're following your workflows that you have defined, and you can see where things are in the system. So we'll go back up here and look at one of the instances. So we'll take a look at this particular one here, instance number 3, and we're going to examine that. Now what this is telling me is it's showing me that I have a particular file was created here, and you can see the steps who they were assigned to, the date and time that they were finished, so you know where they are in the system. As well, any comments that were attributed to it. Now if we scroll down here further, you can see exactly on what node were they attributed and where is it stuck at. So that's where it's at right now, so you know where in the process that particular file is at. Again, that's a real handy way of looking at your different processes and seeing where things are in your system. And you can see that on this next instance, it's another task approval. It's been assigned to the administrator, which is me. So we can go back to our home here, and we'll go ahead and look at this. And since I have two of them, under task approval, we'll click on that. Now you'll see this is exactly where the description of the workflow is. It tells you the name, the creation date, workflow path, the last comment, and down here it allows you to put in comments. It also allows you to either approve it or not approve it, so it follows your workflow hierarchy. Again, a very powerful tool to help you with your workflows, and it really increases your proficiencies. We'll go ahead and close out of that one. I want to go back to the workflows. And again, we're going to examine that particular one. And instance 3, we're going to examine that. Now during the deployment phase, that's when we're going to work with you and set up your different workflows. Now you can assign multiple workflows to different documents, because in one case a particular document needs to follow a certain workflow path. In another case it needs to follow a different one. So you can configure those however you want and assign those however you want. It allows you a great deal of flexibility within the system to manage your processes and your different documents. So we'll go ahead and go back up here to the top. And again, you can see that this particular one, these three tasks were ended here. And this particular one is not started. Again, by going back to the home page, it's going to show you that you have something waiting for your particular actions. So now we'll just go back to the administration button. And as an administrator, here's all the different things that you can do. You can set up different users, you can work with the different workflows, different metadata, different activations, the configuration of the system. Maybe you want it to update itself and check for new emails every 2 minutes, every 10 minutes. Those are all the sort of things that your administrator is going to be able to do. An audit log, different file types, the Chrono tab, again, that helps you sync up your system depending on how often you want it to check for things. Repository export and import. This is a very powerful administrative function that allows you to compile into a zip file all the files and folders that are in the system for export. You can also import a whole set of files. Again, these are going to be configured by the user, and usually these are going to reside in the administrator level. You're not going to need everybody to be able to do these sort of things. Also, under the user tab, you're going to configure different user levels and what their allowances are. Maybe you don't want everybody to be able to edit documents or download documents in and out. That just helps you with your workflow management. We'll go back here to the Home tab. And again, I think you'll see that it's a very powerful system. It has some fantastic attributes that really helps you define your processes and your different workflows. There is a point here on the Explorer that we'll look at. And we're just going to bring up one of the files here. Now, we'll look at this particular invoice 1, this invoice 1234. You'll see it says version 4 and some notes on it. So let's go ahead and highlight that one. And what I want to do is I want to look at the history of it. The history is telling me that, and you'll see there, that there are 6 different versions of it. Now the nice thing about Doccept, our particular document management system, is this is part of your version control. This is a very powerful tool that allows you to store multiple documents under one title. And you'll see here that all these have the different restore button except for number 4. That's because number 4 happens to be the version that is published. Now, for whatever reason, we reverted back to number 4 here just to show you how to do that. So say we wanted to go ahead and update it to the version number 6. And again, these type of allowances can be configured in your system. You don't want everybody to have this capability. So we'll go in here and we'll just click Restore. And now you'll see that that button is cleared out from number 6. We'll close that out. And you'll see that version 6 is the current version. Another neat thing that you can do is under the notes, you can go back and look at all the notes that have been associated with every file that has been named under that folder, that particular invoice 1234. And you can add your own notes into this as well. For this sake, we'll just put in date approved. And we'll add that to the system. So we'll go ahead and close that out. In a sense, that has been attributed to that particular version. You'll notice here in the notes that our little comment there came up. And that's exactly what you want to see happen. We'll look at a couple other things here. Preview, workflow log, those are all real nice. We'll take a look at the workflow log here. And you'll see that in this particular one there's no records to be found. It's because it hasn't been assigned a workflow. So we'll close this out and we're going to assign it a workflow. But first I want to look at, make sure it's the new version. So we'll go ahead and go over here to this. Clear it out. Now you'll see here that we have this particular one highlighted, this invoice 1234. We'll go up here to File, Start Workflow. That was the name of the particular workflow that we have that we can assign. We'll go ahead and click Start. Now you'll see here that an icon is showing up, and that tells us that a workflow has been assigned to this. So we'll go ahead and look under here at Administration, under Workflows. We'll go ahead and examine that particular one again. Now you'll see there's an additional instance running. We just added this number 4 here. Let's examine that one. And it'll show you, again, where it's at. You'll see up here, the administrator, which is me, that's what I'm logged into, went ahead and started this. It created a task. It's sitting at the assistant's desk now, so when they log in, they'll have an alert on their home page there to go ahead and look at it and perform some type of action to move it on down the pipeline. And by scrolling down, you can see exactly where it's at in your workflow hierarchy here. It started out here at this particular one here, and this is where it's sitting right now, waiting for some more task approval. And again, those are all different functions in different ways that you can not only manage your system, but it allows you to really take control of your documents before they actually take control of you. The amount of documents that most businesses are working with is not going to get any smaller. They're going to grow exponentially. And getting a handle on them in a controlled environment is imperative to help narrow down your processes and improve your functions. We at Kensium Solutions would like to thank you again for joining us. I invite you to discover more about what we have to offer. If you'd like to go ahead and visit www.kensiumsolutions.com. Thanks again for your time.